Well, Mark, welcome to Yeovil Town. It's been a whirlwind few days. So I guess the first question is, you're back in football after a few months off. Why Yeovil?
Why Yeovil? I think I wanted to get back to work. Spoke to one or two clubs, and it just seemed right. It just seemed right, and I could have waited. Could have waited for another league job, or could have waited for a better non-league job, but I wanted to get back to work. And Yeovil's always, whenever I've been there, I've enjoyed the atmosphere, and there's work to do, and I'm looking forward to it.
Because it's certainly not an easy job. You come in just as they dropped in to the bottom four. It's going to be a challenge, isn't it?
Definitely going to be a challenge, but very rare do you go into a job where everything's right and everybody's smiling. You usually go into a job when somebody's being sacked for a reason. So yeah, it's a difficult job, but I'm looking forward to it.
So you've had one game, albeit just a couple of days since your appointment, but what can Yeovil Town fans expect when you get the chance to put your stamp on the team?
Well, my teams have always been really heavily ball dominant and tried to dominate the opposition with the ball. But at the moment, it's, like I've said to the players, it's just about simple, clear messaging and trying to get some confidence back, because they're low on confidence. And that's when you're on a bad run, that's what happens. So it's about trying to play in the opposition's half. It's about trying to get crosses in the box and sustain some attacks and try and get the supporters behind the team.
And did you see that, particularly in the first half against Maidstone?
In the first half, for sure. Second half, there's a little bit of fear. We're not supposed to be winning. Take a step back rather than take a step forward. But no, the first half was really encouraging, and then the players gave a great effort. And if we can replicate that effort and keep adding layers to our work and showing the players what we need, then they'll be all right.
And it was a penalty decision that cost you the 3 points, but is there something in the confidence that you couldn't put the game to bed? It was just 1-0.
Yeah, of course. You know, we had a couple of chances where you think if we get the second goal, then that is game over. We can talk about the penalty decision, can't we? As much as you like, but I've made a promise to myself to not get in trouble and be a good boy.
Fans can be impatient, we know that in football. There is an urgency to get out the bottom four, of course, but is it a case of taking it game by game, just learning to walk before you run?
I think it's important that we go game to game, day to day. I think that's the only way we can approach it. It's the best way to approach it. I think over the last few years that supporters and the impatience grows. If you don't win one game, there's people shouting for you out, and that's social media, and that's just the way it is now. And we have to accept that. But I think if fans can see the players are giving everything they've got, and they want to try and do the best, that they can forgive a lot of things.
And you brought a few players in that hadn't been getting the minutes under the previous manager. Are you wanting to see all the players you have at your disposal? Of course,
yeah. You know, when a new manager comes in, automatically some players see it as an opportunity. They've not been playing, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I feel sorry for Chris. I think I've watched a lot of the games back, and at times been unlucky with some of the results. And there's games that they should have won, they drew. But like I say, when a new manager comes in, they see, you get players that have not been playing, and they get a lift.
And you were in the stands on Tuesday. You're going to have to be in the stands again on Tuesday. How do you reflect on that? And are there any positives that from that ban you have to be in the stands that you get to watch from that point of view?
No, my band's served. It was served before Saturday. But I wanted to sit in the stand to get a really good view, and you see so much more up there. And it's something I've done over the last few years, that I've watched part of the game upstairs to try and get a real good overview of the pitch, and especially here it's difficult down there to see from the dugout. So I will watch part of different games from upstairs because you can see so much more. And
you're able to give messages to Chris Todd, who's been here the whole season. I guess that's a positive as well.
That's right, yeah. Chris, the staff have been great, good staff. They want to do well for the club, they want to learn, and yeah, Chris got plenty of phone calls on Saturday, that's for sure.
I imagine you know the situation at the club on the Tuesday before Chris lost his job. The atmosphere here, it was pretty poor, the fans are restless. How important is unity as a club you know the situation with the ownership. I imagine you've spoken to the owner. They've all got to come together, haven't they?
Ideally, yeah. I mean, you can't succeed if there's a disconnect between the fans and the players. And it's because the players need the backing, and they need that support. Players don't mean to lose games, and I don't think there's been any lack of effort. It's very rare you see a player not trying, but sometimes it's misguided. I think I said this last week in my first interview. It's about uniting the players and the staff. Whatever goes on above us is above us. We can't affect that. We can affect out there on the pitch. And like I say, every team that I send out, I know will give 100%. We won't win every game. We won't. We might draw a few. We might lose a few, but they will give 100%.
And what do you think you can bring? Because your time at Forest Green, it was all about that winning mentality, wasn't it? Yeovil over the past sort of 10 years have had almost the opposite. Is it about trying to bring that back?
Yeah, but you have to build from the bottom. You have to build the club. You have to put the processes in place to make sure that you can. That just doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to build, and your recruitment's got to be right. Everything's got to be right about the club to get that winning mentality and that winning formula, and that has to be the aim going forward.
And on recruitment, I imagine you're going to want to strengthen. Goals have been particularly a problem for you. Have you got the backing of the board to do that?
Well, I think it's important that housekeeping is important. If we do bring some players in, we might have to move a couple on. But the squad is big enough. I just think we've got to add a bit of freshness and some athleticism in the team. And like you say, goals is a difficult one. If you want a 25 goal a season striker, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. So we have to get goals from everywhere. I mean, Fish scored a good goal Saturday. He's not been scoring, and he looks a really good player on Saturday.
And they've struggled with set pieces as well. They're so important, particularly in the National League, aren't they?
We've got a really big team, but I've been told that they've not scored from a set piece this year, which is something that I've just been chatting to Toddy down there in the office. We need to really look at that and do some work on it.
And you've got Chris Todd, as you mentioned, and Marcus Stewart. Are they going to be an important part of your future at this club? Yeah, they're great football people, aren't they? Chris was a really good centre back at this level. He knows the players. He's been invaluable for me for getting to know the squad and those little intricacies and how the players work. And Marcus was a fantastic centre forward, and be good if he was 10 years younger and he could still play. Then we wouldn't be struggling for goals, would we? But they've been great, the staff. And you've got another game Tuesday, 2 games in quick succession. It's going to be a tough one against Woking. Obviously know Darren Sall very well, but it's another chance for the players to prove to you, I'm guessing, that they deserve to start. I'm yet to ever experience an easy game in football, because there's always something on it. Somebody always wants to beat you, and you're playing against another 11 players. So the first thing we have to do is compete at a real high intensity. I want us to be really front foot, to be really intense. I want us to play in the opposition half. And we have to show a bit of quality. We know it's going to be a tough game. They're flying. Darryl's done a really good job there. He did here. And he'll be desperate to beat Yeovil, won't he? But we need to have something to say about that and give a real good account of ourselves. So I'm guessing you haven't actually had much time on the training pitch yet with them? I've had probably 30-40 minutes on Friday morning. So, but I like what I saw, certainly in the first half on Saturday. Like I said, I think the fans that went would have seen the effort and the commitment and a little bit of what we're trying to do. So we need to improve, and that's the aim. And it really has been fine margins this season for Yeovil. It's always sort of either 1 goal or 8 draws. It's just getting over that line and getting the confidence in the players. Yeah, I was sat hoping that we could just get over the line. We should have had a corner. It's a corner to us, and it's a goal kick. We kick it down the pitch, and we get the decision against us. That happens. We have to react to that, and just looking forward to the first win. Well, good luck, and thank you for your time. I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Mark, AD Hopper, Three Valleys Radio. First of all, welcome to Yeovil.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll have a successful stint here. You've you've taken a team up from the National League in Forest Green. Just how difficult it is, because everybody perceives that the National League is a hell of a league to get out of. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it is tough. I would say it's harder than the league above to get out of.
Yeah, yeah. Why is that though? I mean, is it because there's so many league teams or ex-league teams in it?
There's a lot of teams in there that have played at a real high level with really big budgets. There's a discrepancy between 8 or 9 teams and the rest in terms of their budgets. There's only one automatic place, which then makes it a scramble for those playoff places towards the end. So it's a really tough league, some big clubs in it, and it's a graveyard for a lot of clubs.
Having done it before, have you got your own remedy or recipe for getting us out of here?
There's no secret. It's about putting, like I say, the blocks in place. You have to start from the bottom. We have to start. We have to start behaving and acting like champions on and off the pitch. Our recruitment has to be spot on. If you haven't got lots of money, you have to be clever with your recruitment, and that's what we have to do to start with.
Do you think you've joined too late to have a chance of getting us up this year?
I think what I've just said there, I think, and I know it's boring, but I think it's so important we just talk about the next game.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. We can't look until Christmas, we can't March, we've just got to look at tomorrow night at Woking.
It's early days, you said yourself, you like what you see. I mean, do you feel in your own heart that you can mould them into the team that you want to see?
I wouldn't have come otherwise, I don't think. The one thing I've noticed, they're a really good group of players and guys.
Yeah.
They want to work really hard. They want to learn as well. I think they're fed up of losing games and they want to do well. So I think for me it's just about trying to guide them and trying to push them in the right direction and use my experience to try and, like I say, help them and get a few points on the board and see where that takes us.
I had this conversation with your predecessor. The standard of refereeing in the National League is not the greatest. I mean, does that worry you?
It's not much better above, the one above, got to be honest. But they make mistakes, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And, I said to the players on Saturday, don't get involved with the ref. Just whatever will be, will be. We'll just, if we're good enough, the referee can't affect us. If we do our jobs properly, the referee can't affect us, and that's the mantra we have to have.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, best of luck.
Thank you.
I hope it's a successful period for you.